Show. It's episode 283. We're keeping track of the episodes now with numbers, putting all our stuff on podcasts, iTunes, Google Play. What's the other one? Spotify. Coming at you with podcasts. It's March 9th, 2022. I'm here with Kyle Klingman as usual. Kyle, rolling through the season, into the postseason. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, and I'll tell you what. Here's why I'm doing good. It's because Chris Pendleton is on the show, and when I think through my list of people that get me excited about the sport, Chris Pendleton is one of those. I'm still in awe of the guy to a certain degree, just because watching him through my early years of wrestling, I felt like he did it the right way, and watching his NCAA championships and watching him go double overs for a pin against the University of Oregon. Just a lot of reasons I like Chris Pendleton. So when you said you were going to have him on, I was more than excited.
Heck yeah. Well, let's bring him on right now. Two-time NCAA champion, head coach at Oregon State University. How you doing today, Chris?
I need to hire Kyle as my personal hype man. He's got me fired up this morning.
Kyle, he's incredible like that. You know, I mean, I can't really stand him personally, but he makes you feel really good about yourself. Double over. I don't remember this overhook, double overs throw against Oregon. Who was that against? Do you remember the person?
Shane Webster, probably maybe my favorite moment in college, even more than winning the finals. 2003, we won in the NCAA Championships, and at that point, Oklahoma State hadn't won a national title since 1994. And there was all these like Iowa fans or anything always talking about, oh, you guys are going to choke, the poke, choke. And I remember in that quarterfinals, we had like 5 number 2 seeds go down. Me, Esposito, Mo Lawal, Shane Roller, Tyrone Lewis. And we were all like just sitting there in the hotel like, maybe that's true. Maybe we are going to choke. And we all, kind of came together, rallied as a team on the backside, had a good moment and just started going out, putting bonus points up. And I went into my match with Shane Webster from the University of Oregon. And I remember right off the whistle, he like bum rushed me, double unders, ran me out of bounds. And I was kind of like, wow, man. I looked at John. He's like, hey, he does that again, put him on top of his head. So right off the whistle, he rushed me again, double overs, got a 17-second pin for a third and fourth. And walking off the mat, John got to, put his arm around me and say, hey, mathematically, that just sealed up the team title. Go have fun.
Really? So, that was the third place match, or that was the Conti semi?
Conti semis.
So that's Saturday.
But I think we like pumped like almost everybody that lost into the third and fourth place matches. And so it was just a good moment for me.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that was the clinching moment for the team title. That had to feel great. Do you feel like there was less pressure? I feel like that Saturday morning session at NCAA's, you have Conti semis and then the medal matches. It's like a different feel. I don't know if everyone just doesn't give a rip, or they're tired or worn out. Or it almost feels like there's less pressure and guys are just wrestling.
Oh, yeah, it's probably like the best like feeling is just knowing like, hey, no matter what happens, I mean, especially third, fourth, fifth, sixth, those, you're an All-American, right? Yeah. The team stuff is usually kind of pretty much decided. For us, the title had been wrapped up. It was just the culmination of a long year. And I remember just getting that monkey off our back. Like, okay, we won NCAAs. Now we've proven all the doubters wrong. We've proven everybody that said that we couldn't do it wrong. Now we just get to go out and have fun and really enjoy it. And that kind of was, the first of 4. So where we really started getting to put the hammer down and really wrestle loose.
So you won 3 team titles while you were in college, is that right? 3, 4, and 5?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And 2 individual titles. It's pretty fun.
Actually, Kyle, we just were having this discussion because, we don't ever call ourselves, wrestlers don't ever label themselves by NCAA team champion, right? Like, right. Who has the most individual and team titles? Because I know Jake Rochalt had 4 team and 3 individuals. Is that the most?
Well, or D1, yes.
I thought maybe like Lou. What about Bannock?
Yeah, Ed Bannock is the same. He's 3 and 4, so he has 3 individual and 4 team. So there's a guy named Chuck Jean who has 4 national titles, but he has NAIA mixed in too. So he has 4 and 4 for a total of 8, but that includes NCAA and NAIA. So 7's the most for D1.
It's actually impressive. In the encyclopedia knowledge in that head. What about Ruth? Is he 3 and 4?
He has 7 total. Yeah.
But nobody at D1 could get 8 because there's only, what is it? It's Kale, Pat Smith, Dake, and Stever, and none of those guys were on 4 championship teams, right? There's only 4, right? I'm not missing anybody?
4, yeah.
And then potentially Spencer next year.
Yeah.
That's still pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool stat.
Awesome. Okay, speaking of teams, right? Now you know that's Oregon State, second year. As head coach, you just took second place at the Pac12s, and it was close. Where are you 2 years in? And I know next weekend I'll tell a lot, but are you about where you'd like to have been with where you have your team? Would you like to have been a little bit better by now? Are you a little bit ahead? And this is when you decided to take the job back in, I think it was March, almost 2 years ago.
I had a 1, 2, and a 5 year kind of a program that got actually your mentor and helped me out a lot with writing my business program, Brian Smith at the University of Missouri, and I just got to spend time with him and see what Tiger Style meant to the program, what it really was, not a catchy slogan or hashtag. It's a philosophy, it's a culture, and it's a business plan. And it really struck a nerve with me on how to start envisioning where I wanted to do and I wanted to go with my program. And so I wrote up a 1, 2, 5 year business model, and then the pandemic hit, and I really tore it up, crumpled it a little, put it under my desk, and never looked at it again. It kind of tongue in cheek, but kind of serious. I mean, the last 2 years have been a up and down roller coaster, and I got to just give all the credit to my assistant coaches and the guys on the team for coming together tighter and tighter and buying into the philosophy and the culture. And I can reasonably say that we are ahead of schedule. It's been really fun getting to watch the development of the program. And I just was kind of talking to my head AD about it a little bit, where, I always say it's like, it's kind of like being the head coach. I became a father at the same time. So I'm seeing the parallels to growth, and all growth is painful. You guys have been around young children. I was, telling the guys on the team that, I remember when my son opened his eyes for the first time, and you could tell the light was burning his eyes, and, when teething starts coming through, all these little small things that it's like, as they grow, it's painful. And, losing a heartbreaker at the Pac12 Championships is really, really painful, but it's growth of the program, and it's showing that we're on the right track. So I'm happy with what we're doing. From a 2.6 team GPA to, I think we're tracking around about a 3.2, 3.3. We've had no disciplinary issues, and we've had a lot of buy-in to the beliefs and the culture of the program. So those are the things that we kind of hang our hat on and help us sleep a little better at night, but not sleeping too good with half a team point.
Yeah. So 1, 2, and 5 year plan, I think that's really interesting. Without getting too specific, and I guess they did change, what was the plan for 2 years? And maybe it changed because of the pandemic, but,
Well, it just was kind of going off of some of my previous stops. You're building a house. You're building something. Everybody talks about building, right? And what would a number one recruiting class come and building the dam, right? We wanted to lay the right foundation and the right culture in place for future generations. And that was kind of putting that foundation of our house down and making sure it was rock solid, and it was what we believed in, what kind of Tiger Style has meant to the University of Missouri. Just that solid foundation that it doesn't matter if you're a superstar recruit or a walk-on, you come in and the expectations and the beliefs that are set out for you. It doesn't matter if you bring a number one recruiting class in the country in year 1 or 2. who are they going to follow? Who are they going to lead? And it was a little bit of my experience at ASU when I was seeing Zahid Valencia almost kind of walking into a program being the alpha, the top dog, the guy that everybody's looking at. But who was guiding, who was mentoring, who was Zahid following? I was incredibly fortunate. My freshman year, I got to walk in the Oklahoma State room and see Mark Munoz, #1 in the country, chasing the national title down. I was like, that's the guy. Okay, that's the guy I'm going to follow. That's who I'm going to live my life like. That's who I'm going to just kind of, keep. I remember just being in the room, just kind of keeping an eyeball on Mark. Like he popped up, I popped up. He, how he carried himself, the energy he projected. And so that was something that meant a lot to me in that first couple of years. What was our expectation? What was our foundation that we were laying out? And those were the 1 and 2. And we hope to start bringing in, more and more high-level elite athletes, building up our all aspects of the program. And, we've kind of been jumping those levels. But at the same time, knowing that we had really good guys in the room. We have the Willett brothers. We have Brandon Kaler. We have just an incredible amount of talent already here. And some of the people that have, we kind of had a little bit of team castaway, Gas Tank Gary, Corey Crooks, Trey Munoz, all these guys kind of coming together, Ryan Reyes, Matt Olguin, having that influx of new people in that mixture. It's been really fun getting to sit back and watching how it's been playing out.
I guess to the point of the castaway or whatever, how important, I mean, it's kind of changed the landscape of college wrestling that just guys can up and go transfer whatever they want. How big is that to building a team and bringing transfers in? We see it with Hildebrandt and Dean, right, at Penn State. And I think it's important, right?
Yeah, it's important. It's been a little bit of a wild time. If you look at a lot of our incoming kids that have come in, one being on the East or West Coast with Fresno State dropping, we wanted to give those kids a home and an opportunity. So I know like Matt and Ryan, those were guys that, we had previously built relationships with where, unfortunately when Fresno State did what they did, these kids needed a home. And then, it was really Gas Tank Gary. It was really a weird recruiting trip because, Orndorff from Utah Valley had went in the portal, and Orndorff's dad wrestled here. So while I was trying to track Orndorff's number down, I had an Ohio State coach reach out to me and be like, hey, Gary's a great kid. You want to talk to this kid? And so it kind of was like I was tracking a number down and then detoured right and fell right into Gary's lap. And I remember Gary kind of talking to him. Gary's an interesting guy. He's about as blue collar as it comes. He loves wrestling. He loves video games, and he loves chili. And getting him to leave Cincinnati and to leave Ohio and come to the West Coast, I really didn't think it was going to happen. And then he flew out here. He saw what we were doing and, canceled all of his other trips. Corey Crooks, somebody that I've known for almost all of his life, he was with the portal. They brought in an All-American at his weight. He needed a new home. He called me, came in, and it just was kind of like an organic, like kind of funny how all the pieces fell in place. And then I just believe when you have a really strong team culture, they know that the program comes first. We treat everybody the same, no matter if you're, 1 through 35. We try to treat every person in our program exactly the same, give them the same opportunities, same resources that we possibly can, and it's been working so far.
You're talking about building a culture and laying this foundation. The culture is there, I would assume, right? I think it's where you want. How long did that take? Right, you show up on day one. It's not set. You have to put the concrete down and let it dry and everything else. Right. How long did that take till you felt like, yes, we have the culture, we have what I want. We don't have the #1 recruiting class yet. We're not the best team, but the foundation is there. And when guys come in on recruiting trips, they're going to be able to see the vision by this foundation, this culture. How long does it take to develop that culture, and where you sit back and say, "Yep, this is it."
Geez, that's a good one. I mean, I don't really have an answer. Actually, I do have an answer. When I really just took a step back and said the foundation is the culture is good, the foundation set is spring and summertime. spring and summertime. I had finally got to take my honeymoon. I had like a delayed honeymoon, and it was terrifying, like going away. And I actually didn't tell the team like I was going to, went to Hawaii for my honeymoon, and I finally had to like put on our group chat like, please stop calling and texting me for the next 3 days. Give me a little bit of time off. And I was like, okay, they know I'm gone. And I came back and was talking to the coaches and the strength coaches, like, oh, we had 100% participation. We had everybody doing everything the right way. I was like, okay, great. And we had one of the best spring and summers that we've had. And that's when I kind of knew, okay, things are going on the right track.
So you did have an answer. That was great. Great answer. Okay, the Pac-12 Championships. Compare, you've done it twice now, right? What was the approach at all different, right? Did you think you had a chance to win the first year, whereas you clearly did have a chance to win this year? And is there like any difference heading into it? Like, did you the first year, did you say we're going to go win? We want to win Pac-12s? Did you think it was possible, or was there a different approach at all?
I didn't even say it this year. I don't really like starting with like the outcome first and working backwards. I like to kind of see where we're going. I mean, you're going to climb a mountain. You're not going to look at the peak and say, okay, well, let's go from there. We're going to kind of start off at the bottom. Your first step. Where am I going to take a step? And we went to the Pac-12s that first year, and it was so wild where. Honestly, more of the thought was, how are we going to get to the Pac-12? How are we going to keep everybody safe, everybody healthy? No negative tests. Let's just get to the NCAA Championships. I mean, remember, that was a completely different year and thought process. I was juggling like the team practices. I had coaches mad at me because I was like, hey, we got one wrestling facility. You have to go at 8 a.m. You have to be out of here by 9:30 a.m. I have to disinfect the mats for 30 minutes. We have to let it settle. Then we have to get the next team in. I mean, it was like there was so many other things like on that thought process. And no fans in attendance. And then we went and wrestled pretty good. And, it was just really – I hate to say it, but it was really just about giving kids opportunities that first year. That was probably the worst experience, is just like telling kids, like making a phone call, like, hey, you're out for 2 weeks. And at that point, at the Pac-12s last year, that was where I was having probably the worst mental breakdown I've ever had. 7 out of my 10 starters that first year were in quarantine until Friday night before the Pac-12. A 14-day quarantine, 10-day quarantine. We were taking Dollamar mats and driving them to people's houses and like telling them to move the furniture out and laying mats down so they could work out. And people were asking me like, so how do you think you're going to do? I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen my team. But, you tell me how you're going to do.
7 of your 10 starters didn't get out till Friday, and it started on Saturday.
Yes.
Out of quarantine.
Yes. Devin Turner, he had what was it? Like it was like in a 40-day period. He was in quarantine for 20-something days, and he's a pretty good weight cutter. So I was like zooming in, like, okay, step on the scale. I can't see the scale. Step on the scale. I know you can't work out, but don't do anything. Don't eat.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, this year was a little different.
This year was a little different, though. There were some cancellations, right? I think the Iowa, and then I think in Philadelphia.
The Iowa wasn't COVID related. It was like the worst. And you guys have experienced Tom Brands, and it's really great. Like Tom has been incredibly supportive of me the last 2 years. I've got to have some pretty good conversations with him and got really good advice. Love the guy to death. Calling Tom Brands and telling him you have to cancel the duel is maybe one of the scariest things that you can possibly do. And right when we get to the airport, we're supposed to fly out of Eugene at 6:30 in the morning. We get there, and they're like, right when I walk up to check in, they're like, "You're not on that Denver flight, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, we are." Okay. So we sat there from 6 a.m. to 6:30 at night, and it was just cancellation after cancellation. And it was Thanksgiving weekend. Air travel's been a little bit of a challenge for everybody this year. Rental cars. I mean, we really did everything humanly possible to try to get everything done. And at 6:00 at night, I finally had 5 different reservations to take my athletes. We were going to drive up to Portland, and we were basically going to be spreading across. I had a group going into Minnesota, a group going into Chicago, a group going into all over. And every time my phone, like every 15 minutes, Brand's like literally call my phone like, "What's up, Dave? What's up? Hey, Pendleton, you got to do this. You're a good guy, but you got to do this." I was like, "Oh my God." So finally I had all this done, and we were leaving the airport, and I have all these like boarding passes, and I'm like starting to go through, and I like stop, and I went back to the lady. I'm like, "Hey, these all say standby." And she's like, "Yeah, that's the best I can do." I was like, "I'm not sending an 18-year-old kid to Minnesota on standby to wrestle Iowa the next day at 1 p.m. Like, I can't do that. I just can't do that." And luckily, Kevin Ward in Army, we're in Iowa. Yeah, I talked to Kevin, told him we're not going to be able to make it, and this is his time to ride in and be that hero. And it happened. So, we were very disappointed about it. It still was one of the funniest things because I was like, it was stressful. And then like, you're just look down at your phone and you see Tom Brand's name pop up on your call ID, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to get you out."
So what was that final conversation like when you had to be like, pull the plug?
It was very disappointing because it was such a big thing for the program. When you get, the University of Iowa, Oklahoma State, Penn State, all these great coaches, reached out while we're trying to build something here and help us. Like, know that when they come in for a dual meet, you're going to get a huge crowd, the exposure. For better or for worse, Hawkeye Arena is, probably my favorite place to ever wrestle. And it really stunk that some of my guys aren't going to get to experience that this year. I wanted them to go in and, I was like, there's nothing like it when you're literally sitting there just getting berated by a 90-year-old lady. It's something we'll be talking about in the next 40, 50 years of your life.
Okay, so back to the Pac-12s this year. Well, is there any difference? Maybe not in the mindset or that type of approach, but the physical. Well, shoot, I guess the answer is they were all in quarantine last year. I was going to say the training changed, but the training changed a ton because they didn't have any training. So now So how about this? You guys wrestled really well last year at Pac-12s, or pretty well, you said. How important or not important then is like, everybody's like shorten the practices, change the training up a little bit at the peak. Is it really all that important, or are we like, dude, the guys were on for 14 days, and does it not even really matter necessarily at that point, and then maybe it's more mental?
It's both. It honestly is both. Periodization and the practice planning is something that we really enjoy doing. It's probably one of my favorite parts about coaching. It's like literally right before I got on the call today, I was just kind of checking up. Little plug. It's important, but at the end of the day, it's not everything. It's your brain's always the best. Your brain's always like the thing that's going to get you. I literally remember, I think you were in college, Bader. Now you're older than me.
Not that much.
My year we had 5 champs. Not a lot. No one ever really talks about Jake Rochalt that much. But I remember February 7th, he tore his ACL, PCL, and MCL. He rode a bike just by himself in the exercise room, came back, lost in the Big 12 finals, and only wrestled like a couple days there, went back to his bike, and we actually put a little Team BMX plaque on it, and then just kept doing that. And me and Jake would always be roommates on road trips. He literally walked into the NCAA tournament with no brace on because he didn't want anybody to know that he had just destroyed his knee, And he would go do media. We'd be walking around the hotel. And every time we got back to the room, he would literally just like collapse on his bed. And you could just tell like it was just a huge drain on him, just mentally and physically. And that dude won an NCAA title like that. So your brain can tell your body what to do. But I, as a coach, what I want to do is I want to give my athletes every single opportunity and turn over every stone that they can have the best performance they possibly can. But it's going to be your brain at the end of the day. It's going to be how mentally tough you are. That's the name of the sport.
I was in college. That was 2003. Yes.
No, you weren't, because it was 2004. You're old.
No.
We had 5 champs in 2004.
Is that the year he lost to Scott Barker?
That was his freshman year. Bader, you're old. Just let it go.
No, it was he won as a sophomore. He didn't win as a freshman. Rochelle?
Yeah. He got majored by Barker in the Pac-12 finals. Big 12 finals.
That was in 03.
Hey, you want to talk about a little bit of the Oklahoma? There is an Oklahoma City bias for the OW award. I'm a little salty, so I can say it. Jake at that year pinned Josh Lambrick, the returning NCAA finals in the quarter. I think he pinned or majored. He bonus pointed the Princeton kid that had lost to Greg Jones the year before. And then he majored Scott Barker in the finals as a freshman, and he didn't get the OW award.
That was crazy.
I think he almost, like, Kyle, you have to look at it. I think he almost bonused his way through the NCAA tournament as a freshman and didn't get the OW award.
Who was the OW? That was 03. I'm like certain.
It was Larkin, who had like 3 or 4 decisions. And Eric Larkin was a tough sucker.
Yeah.
But how many freshmen bonus their way like that in the NCAA championships?
Okay, I'll talk to the NCAAs and see if we can go back and like redo that award and give it to Jake. So
Redo. I just want to get a little respect put on Jake Rochalt's name.
3-time national champ.
It's really good. Lost one match the NCAA tournament.
Did he take third? He took third. What year was that? His sophomore or junior year? He lost.
Sophomore. Yeah.
Sophomore. Who beat him?
Yeah. The kid from Northern Illinois, Ben Heiser.
Kyle, you remember?
Yeah, Ben Heiser.
Ben Heiser.
Yeah.
Any wrestling questions? Direct them to Kyle.
I know some, not all.
Yeah.
Most.
Jake and I would always be roommates on the road trip. So his freshman year, when he won, I was actually favored to win. I got upset. The next year, he was favored to win. I had lost to Askren at the Big 12, so we went in. He got upset, and I won. Then our third year, we're both kind of sitting in the hotel like, who's going to get upset?
Let's not let that happen again.
Like, I hope it's you. No.
You both won. Okay, to this year's Pac-12s. Man, well, you guys lost by half a point. Guy got really excited, spiked his headgear. That was the difference. Considering that or not, how did you feel at the end of the tournament about the way you wrestled and just coming up short? Is it mixed emotions? Were you happy? Were you pissed off? Were you upset?
I'm definitely not gonna. Let it be put on Matt Olguin that for a headgear slam, and the scenario of it, like it's what we're doing in the NCAAs, the changing sport, the changing culture. You can have these choreographed dance routines in the celebration, and nothing happens. Running and jumping in the crowd and doing all these little photo ops and all these little things to build your brand. Grow the sport. You can do anything, and you put hashtag grow the sport, and you're okay. But literally, Matt had a challenging year. He's had a lot of injuries. He's from California wrestling, and he's like the quietest kid in the world. Like Adam Terrapelli tweeted out, like I've never heard the kid talk, and literally, he's wrestling a California legend in Anthony Valencia. And before the match, we had to sit down and say, this is your only opportunity to go to the NCAAs. You have to beat a returning All-American, 7th-year senior that you've grown up just idolizing. And the kid won in overtime and threw his headgear and lost a team point. Meanwhile, we see all the other silliness that goes on with the celebrations and all that. So that was really, I mean, I remember there's a picture of me when he threw his headgear, just putting my face in my hands like, you got to be kidding me. But I went and grabbed him. I'm like, hey, you know what? We wouldn't have been in the position to lose by half a point if Matt hadn't stepped up. So it's what it is. It's what it is. You know, we had our opportunities for sure. Against a great team, you know, they have a lot of firepower. They have a lot of firepower, you know, and it's kind of one of those bittersweet things because, you know, I know a lot of the kids. I recruited a lot of the kids on that team, and, you know, I know how tough they are. So congratulations to them. We're just going to keep plugging away and closing the gap.
When is the next opportunity to change that rule? Is that the every other year rule changes, or is that right? Maybe Kyle, you know, or Chris, like that's I get it. You don't want a kid chucking his headgear against the wall or throwing it in the stands, but like let's differentiate. Getting excited and spiking your headgear, who cares? When's the next time they got to change that, right? It's stupid.
Yeah, but then when you see a kid, you know, take his headgear and throw it 30 feet in the stands when he's upset, I mean, it's the rule. I wish it would go down to a little bit more of a judgment, because even the referee was like, I don't want to take this point. You know, I don't want to take this point, but I don't have a choice. And I'm like, I understand. I mean, it's the rule. I don't think there's really a good answer, because how do you stop somebody from being negative and you know, throwing at a coach or something like that, you know? But my biggest problem with it is, you know, they penalize student athletes way too much for stuff. But then you can have coaches run across the mat. You can have coaches, you know, doing some crazy, crazy things, and nothing happens, you know. And I think there's been a big debate about it with what should we do? I was like, you know, I remember one of the duels, I got a team point taken this year because I was like, hey, how much are we up by? 14. Okay, how many? One more match? Okay, yeah, I'm going to go get my team point taken and give this guy mine. But I think if they started doing like ejections, you're going to see coaches like really be on their best behavior. Especially if you start adding in like, hey, maybe you're suspended. If you get ejected, you're suspended the next dual meet. Then you're going to see people really be on their best behavior.
Yeah, and I've heard people make the argument, right? Like, what other sport do you take a point away from the team? Basketball, football, baseball. What, like, you never just take points away because somebody acted a fool or threw their headgear on the ground because they were excited. So
yeah,
I think they need to change that.
Yeah.
There's no going back though. So this year's Pac12,
it's not making me feel any better.
At least we can laugh about it a little bit, right? I mean, okay, so aside from the half point and all that, but the way your team wrestled, right? When you came out of it, forget about the team point in the second place or whatever, just the straight up wrestling itself. Coming out of that tournament, how do you feel?
You know, first round, I was a little disappointed in our results. I thought we wrestled extremely tight because, you know, we started putting that idea of winning the Pac-12s like in front of at our forefront of our minds, right? You know, I was kind of nervous when we were talking to them in the locker room before, and they brought it up to like, let's go win this thing. Let's go be Pac-12 champions. I'm like, are we ready? Let's see. I don't know if we're ready. I mean, to win in the postseason in wrestling, you have to have a mentality that you're not going to just hope to win, that you're going to go, you know, smash the face and go take your championship. And I didn't know if we were ready as a program. In that first round, I think you could see people wrestle a little bit tight, and we weren't ready. But what really got me fired up was the next round when our back was against the wall, when the score got really close. We did not shy away from the moment. We beat All-Americans. We pinned All-Americans. We chased bonus points down. We went to the deep waters with a lot of guys. And those were the things that got me excited and let me know that these kids are ready to take that next step of the program. And, you know, we got 10 days of preparation, and I'm excited.
Compare this 10 days versus a year ago, 10 days. Are you doing mostly the same things? And is it shorter practices and maybe more individualized and less intensity? Seem like to be the typical. things?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of doing something around that area. It's first is keeping the athletes healthy. Second, start working on their brains a little bit, getting up in their heads and saying, "Hey, these are your goals. This is your chance." Some of you guys, it might be your last chance ever to step on a mat. So, what are you going to do to make sure you don't have regrets, that you don't have those little things? Our biggest thing this year that we've talked about as a program is our team book, and our team motto is chop wood, carry water. And we've been making them kind of just spend a little time here and there reading a chapter or two, talking about what those chapters mean. And the best part, at the end of the book, you find out that through the process of doing everything the right way daily and build those daily habits, you find out that you change yourself as well. It's not always just the end result. It's the process of changing. And I've seen a lot of good changes out of our team. I've seen kids grow. I've seen just young boys become really, really good men. And I'm excited for the opportunity. We have 8 going. We have 1 alternate, Ryan Reyes, at 197. If he's lucky enough to slide in, we'll have 9 there, the most since 2012. And I'm just really nervous because I, as a coach, just want them to have the opportunities that I had and the feelings of that I've had, and the excitement where 20 something years later, Kyle can come over and be like, "Do you remember when you did this at the NCAA tournament?" It's a good feeling.
Yeah. How do you said you feel nervous and you explained why. I don't think you're walking around nervous all day, but how do you feel Thursday morning at the NCAAs as a head coach, right? Maybe there's more pressure. Maybe there's a different feeling to some degree, but how do you feel, or how will you feel, do you think, Thursday morning? And I know it's a long weekend, but yeah.
I don't know how other coaches feel. I just feel like a sense of helplessness because I want to get out there and wrestle. I want to get out there and control my own destiny with my own 2 hands. I actually told the guys before Pac-12, I was like, I am so incredibly jealous of you guys. The butterflies and nerves, the shaking before you get to go out, and then the cool, sense of calm that comes over you when you slap hands. And, that's what you're going to miss most about the sport. That's why that's why I coach. I'm not here to build my brand or anything like that. I'm here to build young men and give them those opportunities to go out there. So Thursday morning, I'll be a nervous wreck because I don't have that release of my nerves. I don't get to go and club somebody and wake my body up.
Double over. Let it fling 17 seconds in.
Yeah. It sounds really easy when you talk about it, but yeah, there's a lot of other things going into that.
And Kyle, what's that?
I said it sounds really cool, like the double over spin somebody in 17 seconds. You didn't talk about Brad Dillon when I was just incredibly nervous going into the quarterfinals when I'm literally standing on deck. And the whole 2 weeks was talking about me and Greg Jones having like a 1 versus 2 super match in the finals. And I literally am warming up and I'm watching Greg. And I had told Branch before, I was like, I think that I think it was Rashad Evans. I had wrestled Rashad and I couldn't take him down. But I turned him on top and I was like, I was a little bit better than Greg on top. I was like, Greg's going to really struggle with this guy. And sure enough, I'm literally standing there watching him, and I'm like, oh, Greg Jones just lost. I was like, I want to be national champ. It's easy. I'm good. And Branch was like, get your head in the game. I'm like, no, look, Branch. And then I remember it was like that round. It was Greg. You have to go back and look, Kyle. I remember it's like 5 out of the top 8 seeds went down. And I remember just sitting there just being like, I won a national championship. And then I go out and Brad, and he knocks me off, and I'm like, what did I do?
Robbie Waller's like, the door's open.
And then Jake made the finals, and I remember I'm drilling with Jake, warming him up for the finals, bawling. I'm literally in tears because I'm watching Robbie Waller from OU, I beat 5 times that year, and Carl Fraunhofer, who I had teched and pinned in the NCAA finals. And I'm just a drilling dummy for one of my best friends. Like, oh my God, you feel so good. Oh, you're ready to go. And just like, I'm like literally hysterical, crying in the back because I'm like, I can't believe I let my national championship slip through my fingers because I was so full of myself. And it was a really, really tough lesson to learn.
Wow. Yeah, kids, listen to that. I won.
When
I'm a
coaches
national.
say wrestle your match and don't worry about everybody else, listen to them because it is 100% true. I will never forget, like, trying to face this way, but out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, oh my God, he's getting beat. I'm going to win this thing.
Anything can and will happen at the NCAA Championships. I'm super stoked. Yeah, what are we? 8 days away, I think. Today's Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
A week from today, everybody's going to be in Detroit. Yep. Super pumped. Kyle, you're kind of hanging out over here a little quiet, but I'm sure you got something to say.
Chris, we have our game Sweat It Out. I have 5 questions that I'm going to ask. Are you ready to play?
Let's go.
All right, number 1. What Division I head wrestling coach has the most dual meet wins?
Current?
No, all time. All time wins.
All time. Oh, I actually do know this one. Dang it. Dale Thomas?
Yep, Dale Thomas, Oregon State, 616. Got it.
Wow.
Nice pulling that one out. All right, number 2. What former NFL fullback was an All-American wrestler at Fresno State and was a state champion for Lemoore High School in California?
Lorenzo Neal, who bought me my first pair of wrestling shoes. He took 4th place as a freshman, and then the football coaches sat him down and said, stop. You're going to be a number 1 draft pick in the NFL draft. And sure enough, he was. But the bonus follow-up is he used to leave football practices at Fresno State and come back to Lemoore High School and roll around with us because he just loved wrestling.
Really?
Also, Kyle, it's Lemoore, not Lemoore, right?
Yeah, I said Lemoore. It's Lemoore. Yeah. Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Number 3, what show did fictional character Eddie Haskell appear?
Leave it to Beaver.
That was easy.
Yep.
I mean, Beaver, I get
Beaver
it.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, what U.S. president has a dam named after him?
Hoover.
Yep, Herbert
No.
Hoover Dam. Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, don't back.
Okay, I was like, oh my God, wait.
You got it. And number 5, it's our discretion, but who has the best John Smith impression?
Now listen, son, if you don't think anybody but Chris Pendleton has the best John Smith impression, you just flat out lost your mind, kid, and I don't know how to help you.
Is it you?
I
think it's me, but Coleman Scott unintentionally does it really well.
Coleman kind of sounds like him.
Unintentionally. I don't think it's an impression. I think when Coleman just gets mad, he goes back to some previous experience.
The thing about John Smith too, I noticed this with Chris Perry this weekend, and I've seen it in the past when Coleman was coaching with him. I've seen it with Guerrero, Esposito. They're like, I don't know, but like guys sit next to him, or even if they're standing in a dual meet, their bodies like move in unison. They're watching,
It happens. I mean, I notice like when I'm around him, like you kind of just like, he's such a huge mentor. I think there's some conscious clues that we kind of like clue into and everything. So it's really funny. I still don't like coaching against him.
Did you guys duel them? Or just
Yeah, you don't even make eye contact. You're like, that's a terrible call. And you just like don't even look over at him.
It's a little intimidating. I'm sure.
Chris, you sure you want to throw that brick?
Are you Jedi mind tricking me?
This is great.
So do I know you said you talked to Brian Smith and had some conversations about getting your program on there. Do you talk with Coach Smith much? Coach to coach?
Oh, yeah. I have. I think I have. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate where I've had a lot of really, really good mentors. Obviously, John's my my go-to guy when I ever need anything. He's still John Smith. He's still my hero, and I is somebody that I really look up to. But I also really always like looking at other programs and what's successful. I mean, I can tell you I've love chatting with Pat Santoro. I love chatting with Papalizio. I like chatting with Tom Brands. I really just want to try to figure out what other people are doing and doing the right way. There's some coaches that, I really, really respect, that I know that they're doing things the right way with their programs, and that's what I emulate to be.
Awesome.
Still getting the coffee going.
What's that?
Nothing. My dyslexia kicked in there.
Your brain's bubbling. Sure. Okay. Well, hey, we're kind of down to the end of the line anyways, so we're gonna let you go get some coffee or whatever you need to do. But before we do, we're gonna give you the final word. Anything you want to say about anything?
Yeah, it was actually really funny. I really would love for Flo to do this one day. I was talking to somebody about like some of the early Flo films, and I went on and looked up my first Flo film that I ever did, my first interview, 2007, where Flo came in and they were doing all these little interviews, and I was just kind of like thinking about it throughout the years, like how many of us have been on for me, 2007, what is that?
13 years.
13?
15.
Oh, yeah. I have my math. I'm thinking I've been here for 13 years, almost 14. But I came in 08.
Yeah, you go back and you watch, like, you see interviews of, little David Taylor and stuff. I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to do, like, a compilation video of, like, everybody's, like, growth and where we've gone and everything. Like, there's some old videos on there that are really, really cool.
I'm like, now here I am trying to sift through and search Chris Pendleton and find the very first one. Oh, man.
Had a big old head, skinny body.
The Raccoon Hunter. This is on your couch.
Yeah. I couldn't get Martin to leave my house for like 2 weeks.
He's like parked and slept in the driveway or something, right?
No, he slept on my couch, and he had that weird, creepy van.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, you got to leave. Like, go. No, one more video. I got nothing else for you.
I'm glad you said Flow Film, right? Those are interviews. Films are a little different. We have a new film coming out, and I just figured we'll play the trailer. It's about Stanford and everything that happened, right? With getting dropped and then coming back, and it's gonna it comes out next Wednesday. So I know you'll be busy, but maybe after the tournament you'll get a chance to watch it. Just want to throw the trailer out. We'll take a look, and then.
I want to give them. I want to give Borelli, Ray Blake, Alex Sherpelli. As much as I complained about what happened last year with me and my program, do you know what those kids were going through? Like, program getting dropped. They weren't even allowed to work out. They had to work out in people's backyards on mats. Yeah. It's insane. So I gotta stop complaining so much.
All right. Well, we're gonna play this trailer. It's called Stanford: The Resurrection. So Tyler, whenever you're ready, let's kick that over.
Shane Griffith from Stanford. He may be the last ever to wrestle for Stanford. Over the summer, one of 11 sports told they'd be eliminated.
I looked at my coach and I just saw an opportunity to kind of make this worldwide news, country news. It was obviously on ESPN, so it was a great time to expose it to people all across the country and get some eyes and kind of some pressure on Stanford and kind of put them on the hot seat now.
Stanford, they will be discontinuing their wrestling program, which is a real shock.
I think in the moment, I was very upset with the handling of it. We were in the trenches right off the bat.
We think about the wrestlers. What's going to happen with them? Real Woods, Shane Griffith, Jaden Abbas.
For me, it was trying to piece pieces of the puzzle together, but we didn't have any pieces to piece together.
Wrestling's gone along with 10 others, and we're not going to say why. We don't need to say why. Something's not right.
For Shane, he was the right person to be in that moment.
He knew we were the only opportunity of getting this team back. Actions speak louder than words at the end of the day.
The whole time I was like, this is not the right decision. There's a better way.
All right, so fellow Pac-12 team, just wanted to, kind of put that out there. I think the trailer's releasing today anyway, so it'll be up and out and everything. But I wanted to give you a quick look at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we gave you the last word, but I'll give you. Is there anything else you want to say? We're gonna let you get going here.
No. Thank you guys for the time. Always enjoy it.
Awesome, Chris. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. I'll see you in Detroit.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Thanks. Adios. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. Oregon State head coach Chris Pendleton. Always a joy chat with him. Kyle, you got anything else for us?
Double overs.
Double overs. All right, folks. Thanks so much for Kyle Klingman. I'm Mark Bader. We'll see you next time.